Welcome to At Home with Music, and let's talk about another way that you can encourage your students in their pursuit of the arts, and that's to give them the time to do so. Now, this is a tough subject because I know how busy people get. I was a homeschool teacher for 5 years, and frankly, I had it easier than many because I was only teaching one kid. We only have the one daughter. Took us 6 years to get her. And I homeschooled her from 5th grade through 10th grade. And then she went back to public school in grades 10 and 11. So it wasn't that difficult, and nevertheless, life gets busy. You've got to find time for school. You've got to find time for everything else that you have to do. Household chores and shopping and bill paying and just keeping everything organized. Now, I know for some homeschool families, they keep a very strict schedule. They've got a planner, they've got it all written down, and they follow that exact same schedule every day. And that's great. We didn't do it that way. We kind of had more of a free-flowing, let's see what we're going to do today type situation. Now, of course, I made sure to cover everything that we needed to cover. But I found that my daughter did not respond to having a strict schedule. Okay, it's 11 o'clock, we got to do math. There's nothing wrong with that type of schedule if your children respond to that, if they're comfortable with it. But sometimes you've got to be flexible. And when it comes to their studies in the arts, they've got to have time to develop. Now, a lot of times a child will be taking music lessons and their parents will want them to practice a certain amount of time every day, especially if they're taking piano lessons. My thoughts on this are you don't need to make them practice a lot, hours and hours and hours. You read about the great virtuosos who spent 8 hours a day practicing. But in reality, when you're just getting started, you only need 15, 20 minutes a day, half hour at the most, because they got a lot of other stuff to deal with, a lot of other subjects to study. And let's face it, most children who study music some of them are really going to enjoy it. They're going to want to continue. Some, they're going to be, okay, this is fun, but I got other things that I'm more interested in. So if that's the case, let them pursue those things and don't worry about making musicians out of all of them. It's true. The great virtuosos practice for hours and hours, but most children who study music, they're not going to become virtuosos. They may develop a certain degree of skill and decide to continue with it, and others may decide to put that aside and pursue other things. Now, you don't want to just let them quit the first time that they decide they want to quit, but don't force them to practice for hours and hours and hours if they don't really want to do it. Obviously, the purpose of this video is not to give you a strict schedule to follow or to tell you exactly how to do it. It's going to be different for every homeschool family. So find what works for you, but make sure that your students have time to pursue their artistic desires. Maybe they really do want to learn to play the keyboard. After you've taught them the basics, they may want to continue on. And what you'll have done then is given them preparation for if they decide to study with an outside teacher. They'll already know how to read music. They'll already know time signatures and all the basics. They'll know their way around the keyboard. And that'll give them a head start if they decide they want to take piano lessons. Some of your students, though, may want to pursue other avenues in the arts. And one of them I even forgot was acting. They may want to be in a play or something like that. Anyway, just make sure that they have the time they need to pursue those artistic desires. Thanks for watching, and I'll have one more video in this series where I talk about one more thing that I think would be helpful for you as you seek to encourage your students in their study of the arts.